one, and everyone should have their kit. If you have not picked up your kit yet, please stop by KidSpace here at the Windsor Library and give them your name, and they will give you the STEM kit. So I'm taking out my items. There's a little bit of instructions, not compared to our car last time, which was a challenge, for me at least. But this kind of gives you an idea of what's in your pack, and what you actually have are sticks that are like straws, okay? They're plastic. Actually, I don't know if any of you know what pickup sticks is, but that was a game that we used to play years ago. So I have a bunch of those, and I think everybody should have maybe 20 to 25 of the sticks, somewhere in that number. And you should also have these items that look like jacks, which was another game we played years ago, that has all the little prongs that come out where the straws could go in. Now this kit was all about, again, STEM, and it's the STEM for designing, building, and engineering, one of a number of things, okay? You could either make a tower, see how tall you can make this tower, to actually be able to say, okay, if it gets hit with an earthquake, okay, or anything like that, it's going to be sturdy and it's not going to move. And that you can always test, you know, once you begin building it, just take something and kind of hit it from the side. You can even use your paper bag. Is it safe? You know, is it going to move a little bit, but it comes back to its base, its foundation? So that's one of the things you could make. You could also make, one of the things when I talk about towers, I also figure, okay, what you could do is do this with a sibling. The first of you would build your tower, get it as tall as it can without it falling over, okay, and measure it. And then have your brother or sister, or maybe one of the adults in your house, also try to build one. So undo yours after you've measured it and written down the amount of how many inches it is, and have them build one and see who actually made a better, sturdier tower. So that's one of the things that you could do. The other thing that I mentioned in the paper that you also received was possibly building a bridge, okay? Build a bridge and kind of take the cars, bring the cars over the bridge. I actually have some cardboard here, and I could actually build the ramps for my bridge with either the big cardboard or maybe even smaller cardboard, depending upon the size of your bridge. And the third item that I thought was, why not build a building, okay? Build a building, you're gonna design it first, okay? You're gonna design the building. How do I want it shaped? Do I want it shaped as a square? Do I want it shaped as a rectangle? How do I want to build it? And then as I build it, one of the things you could do is really see, okay, let's say it was a garage. We're building one of those garages, those inside garages. What can I put on top of the top layer so that it doesn't collapse? That's something else you could try, which is why I brought all kinds of little things that I could try putting on either the top of my tower or on the top of my building. You might even want to do it on your bridge, because what you're really saying is, okay, if I have a semi, tractor, trailer, tandem, two of them together, is the bridge going to collapse? Okay, so it's all about designing, which you're actually going to do first. You're going to draw a picture of what you want to make, draw it, and then build it, and the engineering piece of it. Now, when we talk about engineering, it's really creating and building structures. It could be a product, okay? It could be anything that has to do with math and science. Problem solving is a good way to explain it. And what that actually means is, let's say we have a problem here in Hartford, okay? We have way too much traffic in Hartford. And I'm hearing that a lot of the, some of the legislative people and politicians are saying, we need to build a tunnel underneath a portion of Hartford. So some of that traffic won't be on top roads, they'll be underneath in tunnels, similar to what Boston has and some other cities as well. How would we build that tunnel? That's an engineering design, okay? They gotta figure out how we're gonna do that. How is that going to be able to stay and be supported when there are hundreds and thousands of cars on the top road, and now you have a tunnel underneath? That's all about engineering. And that's a key item that we all need to talk about as we talk about climate control and climate change. And so what can we do? A quick little story is when I was in school, I was actually asked as one of my pieces of homework was, what could I create in the future, okay, that would help the world in whatever way, okay? Now we're talking about a long time ago. And what I said way back then was, I said, let's have a little nuclear chip, no bigger than maybe a 1/2 inch by a 1/2 inch square, okay? And that will power our cars. That's engineering. That's coming up with an idea to solve a problem. And I said, we would no longer need to worry about gas and the cost of gasoline, or even what it does to our environment, but we have this little chip that goes in the car when it's being built, and from that point on, the car is good, and you could travel any number of miles you wanted. That was my engineering idea. So that kind of gives you an idea of what we all have to do as we get older, or the fun things we could do, okay, as we move forward. So one of the things that I was going to start to do, I was going to build a tower, okay? And here again, part of this is, all right, how am I going to build the tower? Now, I don't have my design with me. I have it in the other room. But the point is, if I have a tower, do I want to make it square on the bottom? Do I want to make it maybe triangular? Everybody knows what a triangle is, right? Do I want to make it as a triangle? And you got to remember these things, which I'm going to call jacks, fit inside these straws, and basically you could use any one of the little spokes on it, okay? So let's say, all right, so that's pretty sturdy as it is. But let's say now what I want to do is I don't want to make it square, all right? And I don't know if this is going to work because I haven't tried it yet, all right? So here we go. I'm putting one of the jacks right there. But what I want to do is I want to make that a triangle. See how I'm doing that? So I'm going to use another jack in here, and I'm going to make this a triangle, just like this. Okay? Now, what I could do is do the same here and make it go across if I wanted to. But I'm going to hold off. Maybe what I might want to do is actually move this a tiny bit. All right? And now I'm going to take one, put another one in there, and do I want to make that a triangle? I don't think so, because it's kind of weird looking, right? I don't think that would stay very well. But I think I'm good with one. Now, so we have this sitting here, and we're going to continue to grow this. And I'm sorry, they're mowing the lawn outside, so hopefully you're going to continue to be able to hear me. Okay, so here I am, and I want to see what happens if I can attach this now. Okay, so here's what it looks like at the moment. Now you could do any one of hundreds of different ideas, okay? And what I'm going to do is kind of build off of this one. And again, I do not have it flat. You can see I've only got 2 pieces of this tower that are actually flat. So is this really going to be safe? You know, could this be something that's going to collapse as a tower if something hit it by mistake? Okay, so it might. It might. It's hard to say, but we're going to test it as I move forward on this. Okay, so we're going to keep building it, and it's actually going to look like it's leaning, right? Because I only have these 2 bottoms. Now, what's going to happen, if you can see this here, okay, and I'm going to turn it so that you can see it. This is above, right? Well, guess what? It's top heavy because I only have two sides that are down on flat on the table. So that tells me, what do I need to do? Or it gives me ideas. What do I need to do? I think I need to make the base being the lower part, I have to make that sturdier, because as I continue to grow the top, I'm going to be top heavy because I don't have enough on the bottom. See how it's now way too big on top. So I don't need to necessarily take the stuff off the top. What I do need to do is make the base, right? Make the base a little bit sturdier. Now, how would I do that? I guess I could lay some more out this way. But something tells me if I do that, I also have to do it this way. Now, as you have these things in here, you can actually still move them around, okay? And you could bend them pretty much. And I think what I'm going to have to do is make this way. Now, I may find as I'm doing this, look at how strange that is now, right? Look at how strange it is. But I am building or trying to build a heavier, sturdier base to this, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue putting on some more pieces to my base. So hopefully, as I do that, the base is going to get sturdier. Now this would all be part of a design, okay, that an engineer would come up with before he started having the builders build, okay? Because if he didn't, what would he have to do? He might have to tear the whole foundation down, right? Might have to do that. So, as I'm building this, you can see it may require me to go like this, all right? So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put this one here. You can really make strange looking towers. And see what I did now? That is much sturdier, because what do I have? I actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 so far for my base. And even though I do have a bit of a curve here, it's sturdy. It really is truly sturdy. The problem is, if you can look very closely, see this one here? Because that's the one that's curving up. This side or corner of my building is raised slightly. So what does that mean? Well, what do I need to do? Maybe I need to take a piece of cardboard. Maybe I need to put some, if you have styrofoam, I brought some of my styrofoam with me, and I'm putting it there, which would be the same thing as putting a cement pillar in, if that's truly the shape that I wanted this to be in, okay? I would have to make it sturdier, because I would actually have to go ahead and I would have to put something in the foundation, all right? So this is what you want to think about, all right? So if I make it strange like this with this curve, what does that do to the corner? In my mind, as an engineer, then I need to put something in this corner to make it sturdy. And what that often is a pillar or a cement block. A good example would be my deck off my house, okay? The deck is not level to the ground. Of course it's not, otherwise it would be a patio, right? So the deck is above it, and that's not really very safe, because if I get enough people sitting or walking around or dancing around on my deck, the deck could easily fall. So what I had to do was they actually had to put pillars or short columns in the ground, cement, and onto the bottom of the deck to make it sturdier, so it wouldn't fall, okay? It wouldn't collapse. So that might be something that you might want to consider doing. Now, what I'm going to do is I am continuing to make it sturdier on the base, Okay, what is that doing though? What it really is doing is making my tower smaller. My tower is a little bit odd shaped, and there's nothing wrong with an odd shaped tower, especially if a city said to me, we want to have a tower that we could commemorate or thank or whatever this wonderful artist that grew up in our city. So we want to build this tower and put the artist's name on it. Well, an artist sometimes does some very unusual things, write their art, and what happens is that's what they wanted to do when they built the tower. So here I am, here's my tower. Again, gotta remember, I made it much sturdier now. Okay, I made it much, much sturdier on the bottom, which means maybe I can add more to the top. All right, make my tower even higher. Almost looks like a ladder, right? All the rungs, I guess that's what it's called, rungs of the ladder. See? So you can continue to do things like that to increase the size of your tower. And mine, like I said, is very odd in shape. Now, if you can see this, and I've actually, again, we've put my little cement block on here. I think if I look closely, this corner over here is also raised off the ground, okay? So I think I would need to put a cement block there too in order to hold it. So here I am, all right? I'm still continuing to grow my tower, all right? Here's my tower, and I'm continuing to grow it, making it taller and taller. And I'm going to do another, what I would call part of this. It looks like a ladder, right? So it's kind of cool. Whoops, lost one of them. Here we go. Okay, so you could either call this a tower, all right, or you could call it a building, whichever one. Now a tower, you know, usually goes up real, real high. Buildings are usually would have offices and so forth in them. So they would have to be sturdy on each floor, which would mean you'd have to have a lot of areas underneath each floor, each level, okay, each flooring, something that would make it sturdy so it doesn't collapse. That's key. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to put another bar close to the bottom, okay, which would mean I might need a higher foundation over on this side. Now, do we think that could withstand a storm? I don't know, and I'm going to try hitting it with this. We'll see. Well, my foundation normally would be there, and it wouldn't fall. But you could see it's still, those foundations, the cement little corners over here, would have to be pretty solid and pretty much holding that area, those corners in. Now personally, if I was a good architect, I would say that's horrible, Bonnie. I mean, first of all, did you really want it to be tilted? All right, so let's say there was a bit of wind, okay, that came through, and I'm going to just use a straw. What's going to happen? I don't think my tower is going to be very sturdy, all right? So that's kind of an example, and I pull these apart. I'm not going to even, well, I can measure it. I brought my measuring stick to see how tall it is. But again, it is 21 inches tall. So by making this very strange tower, okay, and all these odd shapes, that's okay, it's 21 inches. And now, either you could try building another one, and do you want to make it narrower? Do you want to make it a very narrow rectangle? What would you want to do? And one of the things that you could do is, you could take maybe maybe 2 straws, And if you wanted to make it narrower or make it easier for them to attach to each other, one of the things I considered, and these are very easy to pull apart, so you can certainly use these over and over again. Okay, so what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to leave this end, and we're going to use this, okay, so that I'm going to build my building. So what I wanted to do is build a building, and what I started to tell you what you could do, and I wouldn't do this to a lot of them, but you could actually take one or two of the straws and cut them, okay? You could cut them so they're exactly the same. You might want to use a measuring tape or a ruler or something, and actually cut it halfway so that these are closer together. They're smaller. Does that help the foundation of a building? If you do that, it's possible, right? But you're going to design it first. But consider that. And again, when I suggest that, just as a reminder, I wouldn't do it to all of them, because now you're working with not the size of these straws that we had initially given you, and everything is going to be a lot smaller, okay? So, as you can see, I have a very small square compared to that weird looking tower, all right? And now what I can do is start to build my building. I'm building my building. And because of time, I'm going to kind of make this not a very large building. It's going to be a fairly small building. But I think you'll get the idea of what I'm considering doing, all right? So I'm going to put this across. Now, as you can see, again, this is a lot sturdier than that weird looking tower that I made, okay? So I'm going to put one across, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do. And certainly you have enough of these that you could continue to build your building, right? Higher and higher, which could basically be your tower if that's how you want to build your tower. But again, my suggestion is design it on paper first, okay? So here I am. Let's say that's what I've got, all right? And now what I want to do is I'm going to close it. Or even if I didn't want to close it, and I'm thinking, okay, this is one of the floors, and then from here I'm going to build off of this one and put on another floor. But what I want to do is, how sturdy is this, okay? As a building, how sturdy is it? Or maybe what I could do is maybe I could turn around and make a tower out of this, all right? And again, you could try hitting it, you could try doing different things with it. Certainly, what I have also here, I wanted something a little bit heavier to see how sturdy it is. Probably what I could do, let's see, will this hold? Popcorn. I got all kinds of popcorn in here, and I'm going to put it on the cardboard, and is it going to hold it? It's not going to hold it, all right? So that means I haven't really built my building, the floors. I haven't built them enough so that they are sturdy. Now I put a measuring tape on there, works fine, all right? I'm going to put a book on there, because maybe this is way too heavy, and maybe we don't even expect anything this heavy would ever be on this floor, all right? So I'm going to put the book. Not quite sturdy enough. So to me, that means we need to build up the foundation, we need to build up the flooring. So, you know, I'm going to leave you with these possible ideas of things to make. I want you to have fun. I want you to, like I said, think about your design. Because what you're ultimately trying to do is build something that isn't going to collapse if you put something on it, because we wouldn't want a normal building to collapse, right? Let's say we had a building and the building had to hold on the very top floor, okay, that's outside, that's facing the sky, and it's 15 stories high, and we're going to build a helicopter landing for it. Now, is that going to be heavy enough? You know, is it sturdy enough to house, to be able to have a helicopter land on the top floor? Okay, the top that's outside on the roof, more like a roof, but it's flat, okay? What could you build to make sure heavy things like that could land on there? So those are some ideas for you. I think you're going to have lots of fun with it, because I could spend hours doing this. I certainly enjoy doing it. If you have any questions, please give me a call or send me an email. Be happy to help you through anything. Again, this was all about designing, building, and engineering objects, buildings, okay? So enjoy it, have fun. If you want, send me a picture. Let me see how you did. And I'll talk to you next month for another STEM takeaway.